Hi, everyone. Welcome to So You Want to Be a Musician. My name is Maya. I am one of the Teen Services Librarians at the Ocean County Library. This is about a 45-minute program with some time for Q&A at the end. If you have any technical issues, send a message to the chat feature to the Ocean County Library. So You Want to Be a Musician is one of our many fabulous career series programs, and today it is my pleasure to welcome Brian Betz. Brian Betz is a guitarist, composer, and educator. Mr. Betz holds 2 degrees from Rowan University and is endorsed by GHS Guitar Strings. Mr. Betz is a past winner of the Betty Carter International Jazz Competition, has played at the Kennedy Center and the Cape May Jazz Festival, and is on the faculty at Monmouth and Rowan Universities. And in 2018, he was awarded by the NJEA and FOX 29 as one of the 10 top teachers in New Jersey. And Mr. Betz has performed for us multiple times for our adult programs, but I believe this is one of the first teen programs. So we're really excited to have Brian with us today. Thanks, Brian, for joining us, and I'll turn things over to you.
Maya, thank you so much. Yeah, I have performed at the Ocean County Library as a jazz guitar player. Oh man, we just played there. I think it was in September or October we did something. And me and my friend Vinny Correa were playing in the Mancini Theater. And we were talking about the first time I played at the library had to be 20 plus years ago when they still had performances in the church, what was the church. So yeah, I've been associated with the library for a long time. And it's nice to finally do a program like this. As Maya said, I am an educator. By day, I teach in the K through 12 New Jersey public school system. I actually am a instrumental music in the Paulsboro Public School District. And I'm instrumental music there now. And before that, I was general music. And then for the past almost 20 years, I've been a professor of music at Rowan University. And I've taught at Monmouth University and also Cumberland County College and a couple of other places. But today, the topic is certainly not about me, but it's about so you want to be a professional musician and what that entails and some real life of how to succeed regarding that. And I thought I would go over some things. I have a PowerPoint I'm going to present, and I hope these things help you out. I hope they open up some perspective and some ideas for you to succeed in music, because it can be a very fulfilling and gratifying career. And it's something that I've loved doing for many, many years, and I hope to continue. So let me share my screen here. See if we can get this going. And like Maya said, to give everyone a pacing, be about 45 minutes long. I could talk much longer about this, but I think 45 minutes is more than enough. So here we have it. So you want to be a musician. Couple things to talk about here. Let's move along here. There's some things to take into consideration. Ultimately, you have to have a product. Hold on, all right, let me get my PowerPoint going here. There we go. Okay. So, a couple things we're going to talk about with regard to being a successful musician. Okay, several requirements. You first got to pick something you love, something that you want to present, something that is a commodification, big word for something that's marketable, it's worth something financially to people, and of course, as a musician, being artistically of interest to you or myself. So, you know, there's a lot of things that entail this. Ultimately, you're going to be a performer. Okay. Do you want to be a singer? Do you want to be an instrumentalist? And an education, you know, is a big thing. you know, I take a lot of pride that I'm a music educator, and then you know, my students at my as I would say, my day gig, my day job, they know that Mr. Betz is Mr. Betz in the daytime, and at night they know I'm a professor, and I tell them this magical thing that you know, it's a joke, but like I transform into Professor Betz several times a week, and I'm a professor, and a lot of them will ask me, well, you know, what do you teach them that you don't teach us? And I'll go into some detail that they can understand, and it's basically, you know, it's teaching guys, but at a different level. And then my students also know that I have a performing career, and I play and perform all over the country. You know, sometimes I'm gone the whole weekend, take a flight out on a Friday to come back on a Sunday, and I'm performing. And I'm very open to all my students about that, my collegial students, and also my public school students, because some people have an interest in this, and you know, not everybody does this. My parents, they're great people, and they supported me in what I do and when I studied, but they did not come from this, and it was a big challenge for me to find my niche and understand how this works with you know, wanting to be a professional musician. Another avenue, composition. You know, you can be a composer of music. The big thing now, especially at Rowan University, is we have a major for video game composition. Writing music for video games is huge. Okay, writing music for jingles on the TV, on the radio, on the internet. Everything is based on the internet. It really is shifted to that. So composition certainly is an avenue for becoming a professional musician. The bottom line, you know, I'm going to try to give you the very, very important things. You need to be great at what you want to do. Okay. I was always steadfast. I wanted to be an amazing jazz guitar player. I played guitar since I was in first grade, and my parents bought me an acoustic guitar. I took lessons 30 minutes a week at a local music store. I grew up in Toms River, and it was great. And then when I was about 15 or 16, I decided I wanted to get really serious, and I wanted to study jazz. I got a wonderful teacher, and I started dedicating my musical studies to jazz guitar. Now that's what I wanted to do. That doesn't mean other people have to do that. I know plenty of musicians that are very, very versatile, do a whole bunch of different things, and they do it pretty well. I was always very concerned with and interested in becoming a very mean jazz guitar player. Study in my office right now, where I'm coming, you know, to you guys today, study jazz guitar with me. People that come to Rowan University, it's jazz guitar. And I really enjoy helping people with that. So there's a little example of where I'm coming from with that. Websites, okay? Maya gave me a wonderful introduction. I'm not going to go into all my, you know, accomplishments. You can read about that and, you know, that type of thing. But I want to show you what my website looks like. Websites are everything now. Back in the day, it was business cards. Hey, do you have a business card? You know, a little business card with your phone number on it. As time went on, your website was on there too. Basically, contact information. Now everything is on the internet. And I'm going to be honest with you. People in 2021, regarding being a professional musician, they don't like to talk on the phone. They don't. All the gigs and concerts I book and people contact with me, my goodness, I would say under 5% of it comes from a phone call initially. It's all email. It's all email. It's all based on some sort of contact on the internet. Back in the day, the phone would ring. You know, even nowadays, if it is with the phone, it's text messages. I got your number from so-and-so. Are you interested in this concert opportunity? this gig opportunity. And then from there, the correspondence would start with the phone, but it's all the email and the internet now. So this is my website. Okay. That's what it looks like. Okay. A big thing is having a YouTube channel, a Facebook, your social media stuff is huge. Okay. Instagram, Facebook, and then my Spotify with my music. People need to be able to see your product. And unfortunately, if you're a musician, it's not just listening. Okay. They want to see it. All right. The way everyone's mind, everyone, the way people's minds work nowadays, it's visual and it's got to be fast. So I can't tell you how many people go to my YouTube channel. They watch videos of me. They watch me giving presentations like this. Okay. And then from there, they may contact me to hire me. And you got to do some of this different social media stuff. My iTunes stuff. I'm not a big Twitter guy. I have an account. I'm not that good. I hit Facebook up a lot. The Instagram thing, I hit that up a lot. And the reason you use those things, if I have a concert, if I have a gig, it goes up there every time with a bunch of hashtags. And then that's how people find your stuff and support what you're doing. So basically your website, I'm not going to get into how to lay a website out, but, have a biography, my discography, all my CDs, all my recordings. Nowadays, it's not even CDs anymore, just my recordings, how to find the recordings, how to listen to them, how to purchase them, my itinerary, where am I playing? Okay. Gallery of pictures. You want to contact me to study with me, videos, and then of course, some reviews. Some high-level reviews of magazines that have written articles about me, or concert reviews. What do I sound like live? Or reviews of people that have studied with me. Okay, so I'm covering a bunch of different avenues here, being a professional musician. Okay, like I said a couple minutes ago, it's not just performing for me. It's teaching. For me, education is a big part of that. Now, if you go and contact like some big rock guys, I say, I always wanted to take voice lessons with like, I don't know, Justin Bieber or Mick Jagger, or, those folks, they're not going to offer that. Okay. Not everybody offers the education, end of it. But myself being educated and having a couple degrees, I like teaching. Some people don't like teaching, but that is definitely something part of my performing career, and I'm proud of that. I really like that. Let's see. Let's get back to this. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we talked about this. Okay, being educated and being a musician. Now, this can kind of go a couple of different ways. There are people that are like, you don't need to go to college to be a professional musician. No, you do not. All right. I perform a lot with a lot of famous musicians in the Atlantic City area. A couple of weeks ago, I played at the Hard Rock Hotel in Atlantic City. And, the guys that were hired with me to support the artists we played, I would say the majority of them did not go to school for music, and they are unbelievable first call musicians in Atlantic City. If there's a show coming in, the only time you need this stuff is if you want to teach. If you want to teach public school, if you want to teach at the collegiate level, you need a degree. And basically your associate's degree, community college, a place like Ocean County College. Bachelor's degree, 4-year degree. You'd have to go to a university or a state school like Rowan University, Rutgers, Montclair, and you're going to get a bachelor's degree in music. Your master's is 2 degrees past that. Okay. I actually have an associate's degree. It's not even on my website. And that's not that I'm not proud of that. I just don't have it up there. I got my associate's degree at Ocean County College, and then I got a bachelor's degree, and then I got a master's degree. And then I never got a doctorate. I thought about it and I stopped, but a doctorate is at least 3 years past the master's. A lot of work. And then you could call yourself doctor in my case, Dr. Betz, which I am not. Once again, at the bottom, degrees in music are utilized in obtaining teaching occupations, okay? So if you want to be a teacher, you need some kind of paperwork. Even if you want to teach at a local music store, okay, they'll hire people usually that do not have degrees. But this will differentiate you. They will come after you. If you apply to like a music studio and you say, hey, I got a bachelor's degree, they're gonna want you, because the majority of folks there probably do not have that paperwork, and that makes you different. It makes you stand out from the rest. And in music and the arts, it's very important. Okay. All right. We talked about K through 12 positions, collegial positions, music studio positions would be like a music store, maybe a private conservatory, private music studio, which some great jobs out there doing that. Okay. If you have aspirations to become a college professor in music, it's possible. Very, very challenging. A lot of people want to do that. It's a great job. So if you had those aspirations to teach at a collegiate level, you need some professional experience being a musician. They're very rarely going to hire you if you have a degree and at the college level, even a master's or a doctorate, and you don't have that experience. You see, a place like Rowan, they like me. I have the degree or degrees, and I have the experience as a professional jazz musician. Okay, I'm the jazz guitar professor at Rowan University. They like the fact that I have records out, CDs out, recordings out, that I perform all over. If you Google my name, you're gonna get where I'm playing, and it's not to be deprecating or to water this down, but it's not at a local coffee house. I'm playing concerts at colleges. I'm playing concerts at jazz festivals. Colleges like to see that. They want the best of the best for their faculty. K through 12 positions, you need a degree. The performing end of it isn't a necessity, it's a bonus. Something definitely that, public schools will look upon as a strength. And definitely as you get a relationship with your students, they'll look up to you. I could promise you that. Now, recording material and getting it heard, teaching at different levels, being a performer, how to obtain jobs at different levels, performing. Okay. Now, let's get back to, you want to be a musician. You want to play music and be heard and get paid, make money. Once again, you got to have a great product. So you must get great at what you want to do. If it's play the violin and you want to play Bach, or if it's play the violin and you want to play country music, if it's play, piano in a symphonic setting. I am not partial to what type of music it is. It could be any type of music that you have a love for, but you must be great at it, and you must stand out and be different. And, that is what's going to make it or break it for you. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people that play music. There's a lot of people that play music and are good at it. So you need to be able that you don't have to be such a go-getter, okay? Instruments like, if you play the French horn, if you tune and you want to play in a setting that's in a orchestral setting, I'm not saying those jobs are easy to get, but I can promise you not as many people play those instruments. And if you play those instruments at a high level, you're going to be sought after. In the jazz world in which I reside in, the instruments that you're always looking for, like I'm a leader, I hire people to play with me. People that I'm always looking for and can't get enough phone numbers of great upright acoustic bass players. You don't see enough of them. You know, there's some instruments, there's just a lot of people that play them, and the competition is just tougher. But there's some instruments that, like, you're always looking for maybe a jazz organ player. There's not enough of them. So like I have maybe 2 or 3 jazz organ players that I love to play with. And when I have a concert or a gig, I keep my fingers crossed that when I call them, they're not going to be working that day and that they'll work. So, you know, something like a tenor saxophone player in the jazz idiom, there's a million of them, and there's a lot of them that are great. So something like that. Even with guitar players, there's a ton of great guitar players, a ton of great jazz drum players. Are there a ton of great jazz trombone players? There's some, not as many as tenor sax players. So I'm not saying to select an instrument that, you know, just to pick it because it's not popular, but sometimes what you play will dictate how easy it is to work initially. And there's a lot of truth in that. You need to be able to hustle. Okay. I remember being younger and having aspirations of like, yeah, man, I want to play concerts. I want to play concerts and I want people to hear me. Well, you know, I wasn't ready to play concerts as far as like in the line, it's longer than other people and that have a reputation, a good reputation. And to overcome people that have been established in a genre like that is not easy to do. Can it be done? Yeah, but that's not easy to do. Sometimes it's good to start something that's more digestible. Say you play in a musical group that plays popular music, you know, music that would like work well in like a restaurant. Okay. Work some stuff like, you know, you need to go to some places and see if they want some music, but you have to be a go-getter. You have to be a go-getter. If you think they're going to come contact you, it's not going to happen. Okay. You have to really, really go after it. Almost be somewhat, I don't want to say annoying, but you have to be perseverant. And hearing the word no thank you a lot. You have to get used to hearing the word not right now, or the phrase I should say, or it's not what we're looking for. And I used to always say I would send out, when people listen to CDs, I would send out like 20 CD mailers or drop off CDs to all these places to play. And out of maybe 20, if I got 2 yeses, that was good, because you're going to hear no more than yes. But it depends how bad you want it. Okay. Recording material and getting it heard. I touched upon that earlier in this presentation. You know, the technology with recording has really become attainable to many people. I could recall 20 years ago doing like my first CD, having to go to a recording studio, professional studio, have a lot of money to spend because it was expensive, paying the musicians on the job, paying the recording engineer, paying it to get mastered, paying for the CDs to be pressed and produced. It was a tremendous amount of money, thousands of dollars. Okay. I mean, I have no problem sharing this with you. I mean, I wish people would have shared this with me. And this information is a little obsolete, but it'll give you a perspective. When I did my first CD, you know, my first CD probably cost me, I don't know, between $3,000 and $5,000 to do, from the beginning of, you know, the process to the end, from actually going to the recording studio, paying the musicians, paying the engineers, and then after you record it, you do something called mix it, where you come back another day and they make it sound great. work done, and then the CD was pressed, and you'd press maybe 1,000 CDs, and then from beginning to end, it was thousands of dollars, you know. And nowadays, it's a lot cheaper. You know, people are recording like they're not doing entire projects. They're doing like a couple songs. The term is like an EP, okay, an LP, an EP, and that's the new thing to do. And me and my dear friend and colleague Dennis de Blasio, we did some recording about 6 months ago. Went to a recording studio, professional recording studio, recorded it, had it mixed and mastered, and it was done. And all of a sudden, from that point, when it's done, you have to try computer. We're not pressing anymore for CDs. Oh my goodness, I have hundreds of CDs in my basement. Okay, from my projects, being on different record labels, and you know, people don't even have the equipment to play CDs anymore. Computers, laptops. There was a time they came with CD-ROM drives. They don't even make them anymore. So CDs are like a thing of the past. Okay, so everything is MP3s and everything is files, like on the internet. So after you record something and it's mixed and you have the file, you're done. You know, you can upload it to like a platform like Spotify, or you could use YouTube, or you can use you know, get on iTunes or Pandora, something like that. And that's how people hear your music. It really has changed. I mean, I can't tell you, you know, to stay in the present with where you guys are, you know, and not harp on the past. The music is very, very attainable. It's very fast, easy to get. And, you know, a lot of times you'll see people on social media, they put links up for their songs, and, you know, they put a lot of hashtags hoping people listen to their stuff. You know, the big thing is followers. You know, how many followers do you have? I know with me getting jobs and concerts and gigs, not gigs at like restaurants, which I really haven't done in years, but like concerts, they'll look at how many followers you have on YouTube before they even talk to you. It's almost like I don't want to say they're spying on you, but they will check you out. How many followers you have on Spotify, how many followers you have on Facebook, because that tells the promoters of these concerts, am I going to sell some tickets when Brian Betz brings his band here? Or does he not have a following, and am I going to take a risk? That's the new thing. So you got to build that base. That's part of it. Okay. Making connections. Okay. This is very important. All of the jobs for me playing my guitar are because I've connected with someone at some point. I never put an article or like an ad of me in the Asbury Park Press or the Star Ledger saying guitarist for hire, or I never went on Craigslist and wrote like guitarist for hire. No, everything was my reputation. A, I played the heck out of the guitar. B, I was very reliable. I showed up to the jobs. I showed up to the concerts, the rehearsals, early, on time. And probably number 3, I was easy to work with. I wasn't difficult. I wasn't a diva. I wasn't, you know, getting, you know, selfish or picky about things. If maybe we were on a concert or something, and maybe it was not hard to do, but maybe it was a little challenging, it was easygoing. That stuff is very important, okay? Because if you get on the wrong side of people that are in positions to hire you and to get you work, they'll never tell you they're not hiring you. They just won't call you again. That's how it works. That's some real life for you right there. So you need a wonderful reputation. I mean, you got to be great. Okay. if you can't play music at a high level that you want to succeed in, and it's not happening musically, everything else I'm saying goes out the window. You have to be really, really great. You have to be, noticed. I mean, I play an instrument where people hire me to play guitar. There is only one guitar in the bands I play in. I don't play in like a rock band with 2 or 3 guitar players. It's me. So if they hired me, they really made a decision, Brian Betz is our guy. Okay. And I'm put in front of a lot of other people. So it's real easy for me. If I screwed something up, had a bad attitude, was late, they're not going to tell me that. Like, if there's another job, they're not going to call me and say, hey, Bri, we're not going to put you on this because you were late last time. In most cases, that's not going to happen. The phone's just not going to ring, or I'm not going to get the email. That's how it's going to happen. So please take something away from this, your reputation, and being professional is so important. I mean, all the connections I've made, many of the individuals I play with, not to talk about age, but many of them are much older than me. And they didn't have to hire me. There were people their age that play guitar really well that they could have hired, but they saw that I was young and I really wanted it, and I was a great player, and they hired me. And that's how it works. Relocation, okay? Relocate to where you are needed or wanted. It's important. I was born in North Jersey in Bergen County, and my family relocated when I was about in kindergarten to Toms River. Toms River is a great town. I mean, my parents still live there. I still have friends there. It's a great town. But here's what I'm getting at with relocate. I wanted to play jazz guitar. Toms River, unfortunately, is not the hippest town for jazz. Okay? It's a shore community. It's a nice community, but here's a big word. It's not a real cosmopolitan type of place. Places like the library, it's great that they have that type of stuff come in. It's needed. Okay. I knew if I wanted to play jazz, I could not reside in Toms River. If I did, I was going to be in the car, either driving to New York a lot, or Philadelphia, or Baltimore a lot to do my playing, which is possible. It's not impossible, but I relocated. I live near Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a major city, and it's got that cosmopolitan, that worldly vibe about it, where you need to be if you really want a life in the arts. Now, if you want to play in a top 40 band or a rock band and something like that, or a wedding band, you might be able to live in a community like Toms River, and it could work. But if you want to play like orchestral music, or if you want to play symphonic music, jazz, anything that's a little more, where the street's a little more narrow with the fan base or the people that want to listen to that music. You always have to think about the people that want to listen to it. Toms River, you might have to relocate. You might have to think of more of a city thing. And that's why, a lot of your schools, like if you want to go to college for music, they're near a metropolitan area like Philadelphia or or New York. Look at all the wonderful art schools in New York. So I'm not telling people you have to move, but I remember living in Toms River and thinking, I was always in the car driving either to New York or near Philly. And I was like, I might have to make a move if I really want to play jazz. Okay. So there's a couple pieces of advice, regarding that type of thing. Let's see if I've covered everything. Okay. I think this brings me to my final slide. If you're going to present, I should say, okay, you're looking to get a gig, a concert, a job. What do you need to do? You need to have recordings of yourself. Audio recordings, I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the visual thing is what everybody wants to see now. It's almost like people don't have the patience just to listen anymore to a track. They want to see it. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to put together what we call a press kit to send to somebody, you need to have some sort of a recording. Doesn't have to, don't send them a DVD because nobody's going to play it. Or they're going to be like, how am I going to play this? Have a link to a YouTube channel or something like that. That's what they want. So when presenting a press kit, you got to have a biography, a resume. Okay, keep it brief. Rule of thumb: resume should be no more than 2 pages. Don't be making some like 7-page resume. No, don't do it. You'd be lucky if they read 2 pages. A bio is different than a resume. Biography is like a paragraph. If you go to my website, I'll show you real quick. So if I go here, take a look at my bio, there's my biography. A lot of people, like Ocean County Library, I've played for them so many times, they don't even ask me for mine anymore. But people will say, they don't want your resume all the time. They're like, can I have a bio? And I'll direct them here, and they can take what they want. They might not necessarily print all this, but they can take what they want. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Press shots, photos. So, you don't got to get too fancy. A friend of mine was a photographer, took some pictures of me here. Keep that in mind. People want to see what you look like. Okay, so this all goes together when you present something. A press kit can be digitally based. That means you can put it together in like a file and email it to people. Or some people still like to put it in a manila envelope, mail it out, or hand it to somebody. So either way. So you got your bio, your resume, press shots. You should put your social media platforms. Remember what I said. They're gonna want to see what kind of interest do you have on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. If you have recordings on Spotify, if you have songs on any other platforms, on iTunes or all the other ones you could download music, they want to see how professional you are, and they haven't even listened to you. They want to see like if you have that together. Website's huge. Okay. Remember what I said, and this is another piece of real life material. The phone thing, people aren't into talking on the phone as much as they used to. It does. People do talk to you on the phone, but it's usually way after the fact. It's after the correspondence has occurred with the emails. Okay. And then a lot of business is done via email, and then eventually there might be a phone call. Sometimes I played some jazz festivals. I'm talking big jazz festivals. And the first phone call I get is like maybe a week before my concert, and they're going to give me my hotel reservations where I'm staying, where they're putting me up. And before that, everything else has been outlined via email back and forth. So sometimes the phone is just not an option. Okay, so get savvy with sending emails. And I said, on there again, be a go-getter. You're going to hear the word no. You're going to email a lot of people, and they're never going to email you back. You're just not going to hear. Okay. Now don't turn into, don't become like, predatory about it, but do a couple follow-ups. You'll know when it's time to like hang your hat up and move on. But sometimes people just don't even answer. Okay. Everything's negotiable. Okay. Everything's negotiable. So be willing to negotiate, the financial end of it. Be willing to negotiate how long you play. Negotiate, if, are you going to provide what they call backline for the band, which is the drums and the amps and and all that stuff. Everything is negotiable. And sometimes on like my behalf, I have to give some things up. You know, you can't go in there, for me at least, this is my opinion. Some people do, but I don't go in there with a real, this has got to be this way or I'm not doing it. Most likely, if you go in there that way, you're not going to do it. So that being said, you know, I hope this gives you some insight of how, you know, to get a gig, how to be a professional musician, what it entails. And a lot of it is way more than playing your instrument. I mean, I didn't get into it. I did the time. I played my instrument 8 hours a day for probably 10 plus years. You know, my wife doesn't know that person, how hard I practiced and how bad I wanted it. And that's part of it, you know, and, you know, you need to really want it and you have to have a product to offer before any of this other stuff will magically help you. But I think we have, be more than happy to answer any questions.
So do you have a musician you look up to or a mentor? Did you have a mentor when you were getting into performing music?
You know, I do. I've had many in my career. My first mentor was my first great jazz teacher when I was 16, who's still a great friend of mine. And his name is Vinny Correo. And I would go to, I was just so blessed that he took me on as a student. And we had a student teacher relationship for many years. And now, you know, just as colleagues, and I know he probably looks at me as an equal, which I'm so grateful for, but I still look at him, you know, up to this day. We just played a concert maybe a month and a half ago together. So that relationship has really flourished into something different. Another mentor of mine is a professor at Rowan, who's my, you know, one of my best friends, Dennis de Blasio. He's not even a guitar player, he's a saxophone player. And just both of these gentlemen looked out for me. They saw I wanted it, and they really helped me and guided me, and went the extra mile to help me. And I'm ever grateful for that.
Awesome. What's your earliest music memory and how did it shape your career?
Earliest musical memory.
Like
I can remember why I started playing guitar. You know, I never forget. There was a movie called Back to the Future.
Nice.
And there was a part in Back to the Future when he gets up there and he plays guitar. And I just remember that was so cool. And I was probably like in 4th grade. And I started playing guitar when I was in 1st grade. But like, I remember seeing that and being like, that was so cool. And that's one of the first memories I had that, like, you know, you see music and you'll hear people like myself talk about it. And it's not usually like people ask you, well, why do you want to study music? Was it just the challenge and the rigor of it? No, it's because it looked cool. It looked cool or it looked fun. And that's why you do it.
Do you have a special ritual before you begin practicing, teaching, or performing?
Teaching, it's usually a nice cup of coffee.
That always helps.
Okay, practice. You know, that's you know, if you come and hang out here, Professor Betz, I'll offer you a cup of coffee. It's a couple. That's that. Practicing. You know, I'm very focused. I cannot practice 8 hours a day anymore. I don't think I'd want to. My family is just too demanding, but I do about at least an hour a day.
Okay.
And when I do practice that hour, I'm very focused. And I always tell my students, all my students, you know, I just use my time very wisely. And there's a difference between practicing and studying and playing. Playing is cool. You want to play the guitar, noodle around, that's great. But then studying is a different thing. And when I do that out, I want to accomplish. practice for still to this day. When I play, when I perform, I had a gig on Monday. I try to, you know, I try to play a little bit that day beforehand, not too much. And you know, try to have a good time. I love playing music, you know, and I love performing with the people I perform with.
So I guess just to continue that, because you mentioned earlier that you used to practice 8 hours a day and now you've toned it back down to 1 hour. So it's not necessarily about how many hours you practice, but the focus that you put into it. Is that right? Or because
yeah, I mean, yeah, when I was in college, I had the time. Okay. I had the time, and I needed that. I needed that practice. Like, but I got to the point where, like, over the years, my practice time, I found a way to even utilize it better. Like,
Gotcha.
I feel like now if I practice an hour, I get about what I get done in an hour now, I probably got done in 3 hours 15 years ago.
Okay.
Just, you know, where I'm at in my life and my musical journey. But yeah, I hope that kind of like just brings that into focus a little bit. You know, I don't want to say like if I had the time or the will to practice 8 hours right now, I don't know if it's not that I don't need to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. And I feel good after like an hour, but there's days I'll practice more than that if the weather's lousy and you know, my kids aren't, you know, on me to do stuff. I might put 2 hours in, especially maybe if I'm writing some music, that kind of thing.
So the last question was, if there was a specific piece of advice to give your younger self when starting your journey to become a musician and an educator, what would it be?
You know, I always look back at my mistakes or what I could have done differently, and I always teach from that, always. And just do what you love. Make sure you love it. A lot of people get concerned about, well, financially, what is this going to do, or how am I going to do what you love and get great at it, and just get so great at it, and good things will happen. And people told me that, and it is true. It is true. But the art and the craft have to be there. It has to be. You got to really want it.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Thank you so much.
Well, listen, you have yourself a wonderful Christmas, and yeah, stay in touch.
Thank you. You too. Yes.
All right, Maya, have a good one.
You too, Brian. Bye. He mentioned earlier that you can find him at brianbetzjazz.com. And this was a wonderful presentation on how to become a musician, whether you teach or you perform or compose. There's a lot of great information in this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.
Support public libraries. Like, share, and subscribe for more great videos.